Well, I wish I could say I lost my voice this weekend screaming about Ketel's hair or the Diamondbacks taking 2 out of 3 from the Athletics, but instead it's because my cat broke my favorite glass and I screamed at him. But we have so much to talk about today that I wish I had more of a voice. Don't you go anywhere. We're starting in 30 seconds. Hello and welcome into another edition of the PHNX D-Backs podcast right here on PHNX. I am occasionally known as your mayor of this joint. I also am occasionally known as someone that's way louder than this. My name is Derek Montilla. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Of course, got my guy Damon on the ones and twos. And this show is brought to you by our friends over at Bet365 and Game Time. Make sure to use that Bet365 app. Use our code of PHNX365 when you sign up. You'll get yourself some bonus bets for following a few easy steps. And then over at Game Time, make sure to use our code of PHNX. You'll get $20 off your first order. Great to have you guys here. It's great to see so many of you already here. The Diamondbacks are in fact back, maybe. Maybe we're back, maybe we're not. I'm ready to jump to all sorts of crazy conclusions. But they did turn their season around just a little bit because after losing 6 games in a row, the Diamondbacks managed to take 2 out of 3 from the Athletics. And we're going to talk about that series. But more importantly, we have a special guest here today to talk about the trade between the Diamondbacks and the Rangers for Merrill Kelly. It's our guy, Jeff, from over at Rangers, DLLS Rangers. Jeff, great to see you here, buddy. Thank you so much for joining us. And excuse my voice today. I'm going to try my best, but apparently when you get up in the morning at 6 o'clock because your cat broke a glass and you scream at him, you can do damage that you didn't think you would do to your voice. But thank you so much for being here. And how are things going over there for you guys at DLLS and more importantly for the Rangers?
Yeah, we're approaching our 1-year anniversary, so we're the new kids on the block in the ALLCITY network family. But we just finished our show talking about kind of a rough weekend in Seattle. They've all been rough weekends for about 3 years, 4 years up there. Rangers can't figure it out, but they're still in contention. They supplemented their roster thanks in large part to the Diamondbacks, and saw Merrill Kelly pitch for the second time in person in my life. The first time was Game 2 of the World Series, and he was fantastic. Wasn't quite as good Saturday, but still pretty effective in a game. The only game the Rangers won over the weekend.
Well, that's what Merrill does for us. And again, it's not always sexy, but the results are good. And of course, I do want to ask, what was your initial reaction to this trade when you saw it happen? I felt like overall, the Diamondbacks kind of got involved with the arms race there in the AL West. They felt like they gave one team a knife and the other team a baseball bat and said, here, go at it. But what was your reaction to Kelly joining the squad?
Yeah, the talk before the deadline was that the Rangers were just going to load up on bullpen arms, and they really wanted a closer. And I'm telling you, 5 days before the trade deadline, a club official I asked them specifically about a starting pitcher, and they're like, well, if it falls in our laps, but we're bullpen. And I think once Bednar went off, all the closers were gone. And I think that they kind of did a sudden shift and really dived into the starting pitching market. I mean, there was only about 2 hours to go, so obviously they'd laid some groundwork, but
right.
They shifted to Merrill Kelly. I suddenly, I got a text from a source, hey, Merrill Kelly, keep an eye on Merrill Kelly. And then all of a sudden, Ken Rosenthal and all of the usual suspects tweeted it out too. So it was quick. It happened. And the Rangers are glad, if they make the postseason, they're going to have Jacob deGrom, Nathan Eovaldi, and Merrill Kelly in a short series. That's going to be really hard to beat.
Yeah, that's nuts.
the trouble is they got to get there, and
Yeah.
they think Carroll can do that. They don't have any more games against the Mariners, but the Mariners added Suarez and
Yeah.
Naylor from Arizona, and so they've improved their lineup. The Astros think they did with Correa and Sanchez from Miami. So there's an opportunity to, if you can't beat them late in the game, might as well beat them early in the game, and that's kind of what they hope Kelly is going to do for them. Now, as far as the return, man, I love Mitch Bratt just as a guy. He's a good pitcher too. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
I really and Cole Drake's a good kid from our area, so you kind of hate to see them go from the personal relationship side and really from the pitching side. They're going to be major league pitchers.
I can relate to that. As many people watching this show know, I do form entirely two personal relationships with players that I just like as a person from time to time. And again, you're always surprised by the I guess the personality of some of these players, and yeah, sometimes that makes you like them even more than their performance on field. I guess what was the reaction from fans in regards to this trade? Was the feeling like? What was the feeling that Rangers gave up too much to get Merrill Kelly? Was it well received? What's the temperature there?
Well, you have your fans who are pessimistic and are like, oh, they should have sold they shouldn't have been buying, and then it's like, oh, they gave up too much. But
Interesting.
realistically, though, this is the business of baseball, and at the deadline, you almost always overpay. But I don't know if it's an overpay or not. Probably because Kelly's a rental, it might be a little bit of an overpay. If
Right.
he doesn't re-sign. But you kind of look at it, the big picture. The Rangers didn't give up they gave up 2 5th-round picks and an 11th-round pick. Now Cole Drake was probably their top healthy pitching prospect. He'd just gotten to AAA, been there about a month. Mitch Bratt, who's pitching really, really well in Frisco. So 2 left-handers at a time when really the Rangers, the top end of their system's a little bit thin. So it hurts on that point. And the Rangers gave up 6 pitchers in the 3 deals they made. So I mean, their farm system took a hit as far as pitching depth. Some of it, fortunately, was at the lower levels, like Hageman, sorry. But the totality of the moves for 3 rentals, I think, has got some fans upset.
Sure. I think that's the idea here, is that, Diamondbacks fans should be at least a bit happy about the fact that the return is controllable young players, and
Yeah,
how the minor league system is. You don't really know
for sure.
who's going to work out. Like you said, Cole Drake was highly ranked in prospect in the Rangers system, and wasn't even like a top pick overall or something to that sort, right? So it's like, guys can move up in the system. They can improve. Cole Drake just made his debut for the Reno Aces on Saturday. He went 5 innings.
All right.
Gave up 3 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, and had 4 strikeouts. In Reno, that's like a no-hitter basically in Reno. So that's pretty incredible. But I mean, overall, it's interesting to hear you say that fans wanted them to sell. The Diamondbacks were in a much worse position than a lot of teams were, and a lot of fans here were upset that they did sell. Obviously, a big part of that is the fact that they traded away such high-quality talent. The other part of it is the fact that so many of these guys were on expiring contracts, so the D-backs were set to lose them anyway. But teams that were in a much better position than the Diamondbacks suddenly became sellers in the trade market. And like you said, even though transactions happen fast, including a lot of those transactions for the closers and those high leverage relievers, it felt like suddenly things shifted for the Diamondbacks as far as teams being interested in guys like Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen.
Yeah, I think ultimately the majority of Rangers fans did want him to buy, but there's a pretty good chunk out there who, and maybe it was because they'd just seen the Angels series where the Rangers lost 2 out of 3. I don't know, but I always say that you could give Rangers fans $1 million each, and they're all and somebody's going to be unhappy. and that's just kind of the way it is with this group. And
I don't know if that's just Rangers fans, my guy, for sure, because I
right,
feel like that.
right.
You know what I mean? But yeah, no, I
But
mean,
it's like,
you do have some good things going on, and again, you are in the hunt, so I don't understand why you wouldn't want to continue to try to pursue that with the group that you have.
yeah. I mean, the first 2 months were pretty dreadful offensively, and it started to come around. The pitching's been fantastic, and the opportunity. I know DeGrom has struggled the last couple starts, but the opportunity to watch him and Nathan Eovaldi this year has been fantastic. Just as a baseball fan, a neutral observer, to see those guys do their work, it's something special, and um, that's what's kept the Rangers afloat. You're maybe starting to see some blemishes and some of the wear and tear catch up, the dog days, if you will. And I think getting Kelly will help the Rangers manage their starters going forward. DeGrom is still first year back from Tommy John, first full season. So they want to limit his innings. They've tried to limit his innings all year. You have, two rookies, Jack Leiter, who's in the rotation now, Kumar Rocker, who was. They need to manage their workloads too. They've never pitched in September. They've never pitched this month, and so there are a lot of ways to do it. And if Kelly can go deeper into games, that'll save some wear and tear on the bullpen. So it checked a lot of boxes, the acquisition, because it can do a lot for the group that's here now, just from a health standpoint.
How does it impact the starting rotation overall? Does someone get sent down? Does someone get moved to the bullpen? How does Kelly factor in there?
Yeah, they sent down Kumar Rocker, who super talented guy. Everybody knows his college career, but this is his first year back from Tommy John, and hey, if we're being honest, he was rushed to the major leagues. The Rangers had some injuries in spring training,
sure,
and he was their best option. And there are some just game situations. Like early in the year, he didn't cover first base on a play, and then he didn't turn around and get the runner coming home from third. So just some game awareness things that he's not quite there on. It takes experience, and that's
for sure.
That's something you don't see anymore. These guys get to the major league so fast without playing a lot in the minors and experiencing things that you need to experience. And maybe that's me being 50 years old and yelling at the clouds and the kids to get off my lawn.
For sure.
But, it's just a different thing, but it's a legitimate. You see mistakes made that it's like, who's coaching these guys in the minors? Well, nobody, because they're not in the minors very long.
Yeah.
But so that was the biggest thing, the head to roll, I guess, with Carroll. I keep calling him Carroll. I'm trying to mix Merrill and Kelly together
into one.
Yeah, so
you can't have Carroll. You can't have Corbin Carroll.
No, I don't think the Diamondbacks would get rid of him. But so that's the first one to fall, and you may see at times a 6-man rotation here if they get into a stretch of games where they want to give their starters a rest. Dropping Rocker for a spot start, something like that. But they feel really good about that and how he pitched Saturday.
Yeah. Well, and again, it's a matter with Merrill of him being very consistent. Just make sure that he gets plenty of water and stays out of cramping.
Right.
I know that the air conditioning at Globe Life Field is glorious compared to Chase Field. So just make sure he stays hydrated. He'll be good. He's definitely missed. But of course, one thing that a lot of Valley fans have been talking about has been the idea of maybe the Diamondbacks being able to bring him back in the offseason due to his attachment to the Valley and being a free agent.
Yeah.
That's always an open possibility. But overall, I guess, this is one of those situations where the Rangers kind of have to make the playoffs in order for a trade like this to pay off for them, all things considered. And still, we don't know what the prospects end up being long-term either. So it's kind of like you have to wait and see with all of this. And I feel like fans just immediately want to react to the trade to know who won, who lost. Well, in this case, there's no way to know until we see who makes the postseason and how these prospects end up playing out.
Well, in 23, the Rangers traded for Aroldis Chapman, and they traded Cole Reagans. All right.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So Cole last year, a lot of Rangers fans are like, we gave up, Reagans for Chapman. It's like, you don't win the World Series without Chapman. What do you rather have? Would you rather have the World Series Or would you rather have Cole Reagans and still be one of 3 teams or 4 teams, whatever it is, who's never won a World Series? I think the answer to that one's pretty obvious. It's part of baseball, man, and it's happened.
Yeah,
it's happened.
I agree.
And the Rangers aren't the only ones that get burned by it, or see a young guy go and start kicking butt with somebody else. But that's ultimately what it is. And if the Rangers go to the World Series and Merrill Kelly's front and center in them winning the World Series or getting there, the trade's a success. That's the bottom line. The trade will be a success.
Exactly. How much do you feel like Merrill's performance in the World Series kind of played into this as well, considering the Rangers had a chance to see him up close and personal in that big game, huge series?
It was pretty interesting because he said when we finally got our hands on him after the start Saturday, he said, "Well, I hope that they might remember me from Game 2." And I was like, "They definitely remember you from Game 2." That was, we asked Marcus Semien about him. And Mark was like, "Oh man, he carved us up," so it's definitely fresh on their minds. Bruce Bochy talked about it too. I mean, that he was masterful in that game. He gave up the 1 run, but 1 run, 7 innings, 9 strikeouts, no walks. The dueling fastballs and the changeup, those guys couldn't hit him. And if the series had gone back to Game 6, Carroll was going to start that. Or see, I did it again.
You did it.
Kelly was going to start that game. So I mean, there was some urgency for the Rangers to close out the series in Game 5.
Sure.
So it was definitely on their minds when they acquired Kelly, the Game 2 of the World Series.
Well, Merrill is probably one of the guys that was in the Diamondback starting rotation that had that clutch factor. Like it just felt like, in a lot of big games and a lot of big moments. It's not to say other pitchers haven't had great performances, but Kelly kind of thrived for that. And especially if he gives up a run or two in the first inning, he only gets angrier. He only gets better. And he's just that kind of guy. So you guys have a great guy on your hands over there. Make sure to take care of him. And Jeff, I appreciate you so much for stopping by to give us a little bit of insight on these prospects. And hopefully this is a trade that works out for both sides.
Yeah, well, if you have the opportunity to get Bratt or Drake on your show, they're great guys. They do it. You might have to work a little harder to get answers out of Cole than Mitch. But and then another thing, and maybe this has come up. I know you're on your ad break, but Mitch Bratt, if fans there remember the 2023 WBC in Phoenix, the USA team played Canada, and their poor starting pitcher really seemed overmatched and got a little emotional on the mound. It was Mitch Bratt.
Oh boy!
He was a 19-year-old Canadian, and he's learned a lot from that. Wow. He will talk to you about it. It's a pretty interesting story.
We're putting that one. We're writing that one down right away. We'll be sure to talk to him about that. But Jeff Wilson, appreciate you so much, man. Thank you so much for joining us.
You got it.
Make sure to follow him on Twitter at Jeff Wilson. Is it ATR? ATX.
Jeff Wilson TXR.
TXR. I screwed it up. I got close there, but hey, thank you again for joining me, man. We appreciate you guys so much.
Anytime.
All right, man. See ya. All right. Anyway, so that's all we got right now from Jeff, but hopefully, again, like I said, we get some more on these guys, and that information about Mitch Bratt is definitely interesting to me.
That is interesting. I think I was at the game.
Yeah.
I think I watched Mitch Bratt ball live in person. Wasn't that the one in Phoenix here?
Yeah, that's what he was saying, was that the WBC game at Chase Field.
Anyway. I don't know how I feel about that. Part of me is like, he's 19 and he was getting like opportunity to go up against some of the best baseball players in the world. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But part of me is like, is that a bad omen? His one start at Chase in his life? Disaster?
I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like that you had to take it in a direction I didn't like, but you also know about the burial ground underneath Chase Field. So there's that whole thing.
Well, yeah, that's an obvious given.
Anyway, well, that's all we got right now, like I said, from Jeff, but we will definitely have him on at a later time to discuss some more about the Texas Rangers. He is an absolute legend there covering that team. But we have more about the Diamondbacks and their series against the Athletics, taking 2 out of 3 there in Sacktown, if that's what. The Sacramento still seems just such a weird place to describe baseball being played, but we're going to talk about it on the other side of this break. Don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. Well, All Pro Shade Concepts is here to help us save save ourselves from a week like this. This week is bad out there for heat. Very, very hot here in the Valley, and a great way to help cool your home down or extend your outdoor living space is to check out all that All Pro Shade Concepts has to offer. Not only can you extend your outdoor living space with a motorized custom fit awning, they have hundreds of designs to choose from, and they are always making sure that they are HOA compliant, but they also have roll down patio shades that can help keep your patio or your home that faces the sun 20 degrees cooler, can get you block out 95% of those harmful UV rays. They can also replace and fix most old or outdated patio shades and motorized awnings. They've been in business for 20 years right here in the Valley, started making window shades by hand for friends and family. Now they're one of the biggest in Arizona. Licensed, bonded, and insured. Give them a call at 623-204-1476 or visit allproshadeconcepts.com right now to schedule your free estimate. Phoenix Raceway Championship weekend is coming up. And again, this was a great weekend. They had the, I think it was the Iowa Corn 450 is what they called it. And it was a very short track, very fun race to watch. And again, just part of the playoff process to get to Phoenix, which is where the championship race takes place. If you've never experienced a NASCAR race, not only is this a great time to do so, but it is the biggest race of the year. So again, all this goes down at Phoenix Raceway, one of the best tracks in the NASCAR circuit. And after a grueling season that starts in February, something we know all too well here in baseball, it all comes down to this: a weekend of pure adrenaline where legends are made. Don't miss your chance to witness NASCAR Championship Weekend in person, coming to Phoenix Raceway October 31st through November 2nd. Tickets for Sunday's Cup Series Championship race sell out every year, so move fast to get yours now before they're gone. And here's the kicker: NASCAR's taking Championship Weekend on the road starting in 2026, so this is your last chance to catch it in Phoenix for a while. Tickets, hospitality, and upgrades are still available. Get yours now at phoenixraceway.com.
Actually, instead of phoenixraceway.com, go to our show notes, click the link in there. That's actually the best way to grab tickets for the upcoming race at Phoenix Raceway.
There you go. Don't miss that. And always listen to Damon for sure. D-backs win the series this weekend over the Athletics. First of all, I feel like I saw Killer Rex say something about calling me an obsessive ex, and then yet here he is with yet another Fire Lobolo tweet. I just wanted to point the hypocrisy out there. But the D-backs snapped their 6-game losing streak with a win on Saturday over the Athletics. Then they followed it up by taking their first series since sweeping the Cardinals with a win on Sunday. And a big part of this is that Ketel Marte cut his hair. Again, that's the real reason why I wish I would have lost my voice screaming about this. I wish we had the video of it, because after he showed off his hair, he proceeded to show to the camera how much how his hair was gone. This is hilarious for a number of reasons, because not only did it give Ketel Marte superpowers in this game, going 2 for 4 with a home run and 2 RBI in the win that snapped the losing streak, but this occurred right after MLB The Show finally updated Ketel Marte's hair after 2 years of not having the right hair on Ketel Marte. And then he cut his hair shortly after that. So
he owns them.
Yeah.
What is it? San Diego Studios? Is that who makes MLB The Show?
I guess this is just a big game for him.
Yeah, he's trolling them hard.
But anyway, after going 2 for 4 with a home run, of course he sat out on Sunday. And I'm sure people would have been screaming about that, especially if the Diamondbacks would have lost that game. Ketel sitting on Sunday, I have to say, doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because I feel like Marte has had a decent amount of time off recently that I don't know if he still needs his regularly scheduled time off. But hey, it is what it is. And as long as the D-backs can find a way to get out of this, terrible 1-for-9 stretch that they were on of losing games, I'm all for it. As somebody already is screaming about Tyler Locklear, he finally had a good game after going 0 for 7 with a walk in his first 2 games as a member of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Locklear went 2 for 3 with 2 runs and a walk in Sunday's win. So, hey, there you go. Gave himself a nice little game. I do think it's crazy to immediately start judging a young player who has played for probably about a week in Major League Baseball before this. This was essentially part of his becoming a major leaguer. This is his second stint, so I think he'll be able to put things together. We saw some nice defensive plays by Locklear already. So let's take a look at the series numbers, though, overall presented by our friends at Desert Financial. Diamondbacks win this one 2-3, or 2 out of 3 is what I should say. They outscore the A's 14-11. Diamondbacks hit 4 home runs to the A's 2. They were 6 for 24 with runners in scoring position to the A's 5 for 28. And starting pitching ERA, awful for both teams, 5.40 for Diamondbacks. A lot of that is Anthony DeSclafani's start because, to be fair, Eduardo Rodriguez and Zach Gallen both were pretty solid in their two starts. 6 innings for Zach with 2 runs allowed, 5 innings for Eduardo with 2 runs allowed. So a lot of that is Anthony DeSclafani's 2 1/3 innings pitched and 4 earned runs. Then Diamondbacks bullpen, believe it or not, once again, kind of held things together here. 2.13 relief pitching ERA for the Diamondbacks, 3.07 for the A's.
One more time, what was that D-backs relief pitching ERA, Derek?
It was 2.13.
Having trouble reading.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty good.
What?
3 earned runs in 12 2/3 innings pitched. Also, I want to say it's the A's the same way I want to say it's the Pirates, but the A's are a pretty good offensive team.
Yeah,
so
they have a good lineup, and you know, that park,
their pitching just sucks.
That ballpark is a hitter-friendly ballpark to a T.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think that you got to take the pitching performance this weekend and be pretty happy with it.
For sure. But what I will say also is that this was important, right? We were just talking about Friday. Like, when is the losing streak going to end? How bad is this team going to be? Offensively, they have been god-awful over that 9-10 game stretch where they lost so many games. So it's just nice to see them put together some offense. Again, the A's weakness definitely is pitching. So this was a good series for them to get their offense back on track. But 14 runs, much better than what was it? Their 7 runs scored total in 65 innings prior to that. So I don't know. But now they have the Padres coming up, and that's going to be a tough series for the Diamondbacks. This, not that I'm trying to get my hopes back up, Damon, but I feel like a series against the Padres is going to tell me far more than a series against the Athletics, especially considering, you know, the way that the Padres are playing and the way that they got some huge pieces there at the trade deadline.
Yeah, if the D-backs go in and are able to win this Padres series, I mean, that would be pretty huge. It really would be, because the schedule gets a little bit more difficult now. Diamondbacks played their worst baseball on their easiest part of the schedule. So things are going to be tough. I don't know that anyone's really expecting a good wild card push at this point, but we would love to see competitive baseball here for the foreseeable future. And if they can start it off by beating the Padres, that would be huge.
The talk was that Mike Hazen went into the clubhouse and delivered a speech to the team. And a lot of it was Hazen taking accountability for the Diamondbacks being in the position that they were in.
Did he walk in and say, listen, fellas, our bullpen stinks, and that's on me? Well,
what I will say is that
basically,
based on Alec Thomas's response to this speech by Mike Hazen, it resonated. Blaze Alexander said it resonated with him. Not in those words. Blaze used much more excitable words because he's an excitable boy. But this team kind of got pumped up about it, and not to ever agree with Rex in the chat, or some of you also that have been screaming for Torey Lovullo to be fired. It is a little underwhelming and disappointing that a speech like this that motivated the team needed to come from Mike Hazen and wasn't given by Torey, right? Like, so I don't know if it's just because Torey Lovullo has already been doing that and that is falling on deaf ears, like some of you have suggested that he's lost the team, or if the impact is just greater because it's Mike Hazen coming in there and not necessarily screaming at them for being bad, but asking them to, you know, give it their all for their teammates, give it their all for the team itself, you know? And so, yeah, I'm glad it worked. I'm glad that the Diamondbacks, you know, got motivated by this, and maybe this will be the thing that it takes to get them out of the funk that they were in offensively. But again, this is not something that should have needed to come from Mike Hazen, though I'm sure everybody appreciated that it did. So let's take a look ahead, though, at the series with the Padres, because they are a pretty good baseball team. They currently have a record of 62-50 this season with a plus 36 run differential. They are 7-3 in their last 10. They do have a 3.95 ERA, which is good for 12th in Major League Baseball. But man, especially with the addition of Mason Miller, they are now the best bullpen in baseball with a 3.03 ERA. OPS as a team, though, still not very good. They have a 700 OPS, which is 22nd in all of baseball. And then their outs above average is 4, which is 12th, just below the Diamondbacks, which are currently listed at 11th. So again, good team that's on a roll, a team that is set to kind of give the Dodgers a run for their money in the division. But if the Diamondbacks have any hope, if any hope at all, of making some sort of crazy postseason run that nobody saw coming, it has to start with beating the Padres. It has to start with the teams ahead of them in the wild card. And quite frankly, that's the Padres. That no one thinks it's going to happen, nor should anybody get their hopes up that it does. But if there's any reason to watch this team for the rest of the season, it's that exactly. Is that, again, now that the pressure is completely off and now that they have nothing to lose, who knows what this team can do. More importantly, though, I think it is going to give guys like Locklear and other young players that probably wouldn't get major league playing time this season an opportunity to come up and hopefully work through some of those 0-for-7 stretches like we saw Tyler have to start his career and kind of get to being productive here before the end of the season, so that when 2026 comes around, those nerves, that newness, that experience is there, that the nerves are gone, the newness of it is gone. So again, this is a great chance, though, for the Diamondbacks to prove that they are not going away, that they're not just going to be a team that slides off the standings and we have to put a little infinity mark next to their division and wild card hope. So let's hope that doesn't happen. Let's take a look at the probable pitchers for this upcoming series with the Padres. Diamondbacks do have Brandon Pfaadt going in game 1 against JP Sears, who is 7-9 this year with a 4.95 ERA. He has 95 strikeouts on the year. We have Yu Darvish once again going against Diamondbacks against Ryan Nelson. Ryan Nelson, again, really good this year, 3.20 ERA.
Got to win that one.
Got to win that one. That's the one that they have to win. And then in the finale, I hate that this is I hate this. I hate Nick Pivetta was
not
so good. One. Nick Pivetta was so good in his last outing. It's disgusting. And Anthony DeSclafani had his worst outing of the year the last time he started. So what a disaster that one's set up to be. Nick Pivetta 11-3 this season with a 2.73 ERA. Fantastic.
Do you ever think about how like other teams, and forgive me if Nick Pivetta was like some big time, type of up and coming guy, but like you ever just are like, how come we don't have just someone that comes out of nowhere and is just an absolute stud pitcher?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Nick Pivetta.
Like the Miz for the Brewers, who is now on the injured list with like a shin bruise or something like that. Speaking of pitchers being hurt, LOL, Hunter Cranton, acquired from Seattle for third baseman Eugenio Suarez, has been placed on the 7-day IL by the Amarillo Sod Poodles. The curse is real, Damon. It's real, and I'm telling you, the best description is like its final destination running through this franchise. But speaking of things that are also kind of a disaster, the Speedway Classic was played this weekend on both days, despite the fact it was supposed to only be played on one day. And it was both good and bad. I saw a lot of feedback from people there, and they were not having a good time, especially on Saturday when it was rained out, and they just waited and waited and waited. That one was a bit wild. They ran out of food, Damon. They started at one point serving bunless hot dogs and nachos without cheese. Nachos without cheese aren't nachos. Those are just chips now. That's what happens. We call
those tortilla chips.
Yeah, that's what that
Probably
is.
Probably not very good tortilla chips either.
Some on social media described it as MLB's version of Firefest, which I can very much understand. SummerSlam just happened this weekend. It's not the reason why I lost my voice either, though that would be way cooler than yelling at my cat. We got trapped at SummerSlam when the payment system went down in San Diego and in Las Vegas at 2 different facilities. And we kind of had our own Firefest moment then too. But eventually the game was finally postponed at 11 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock at Eastern time. And then because the rain wouldn't stop, they started the game. It was ridiculous. The minute they started the game, it just started pouring even harder than it did before. So eventually the game was postponed, and then it finished up on Sunday. The results were positive for us because the Reds lost and we needed them to lose. So that was good. But I also don't ever want to hear about Major League Baseball not having money ever again. Ever again. I don't want to hear about it because this was an insane event, and the amount of money it took to put on was totally not worth the trouble and the delay and everything that it ended up happening. So that's my hot take on that. It was cool, still a cool event though, Damon. On Sunday when it took place without the rain and everything, I thought it was fun, including having Redzilla drive around the track. That was cool. But some people did say that the distance between the seats and the game because of the track was pretty damn far.
Yeah, I can imagine. I do think it's cool. There's no baseball team in Tennessee, and so they kind of split the 2 teams in the middle and said, hey, I'm sure that most people are fans of either one of these teams come to the game. I love the whole concept of it. Probably some stuff that needs to be ironed out, but I'd like to see them do more stuff like this.
I still like your aircraft carrier idea. I don't know.
Yeah, the biggest aircraft carrier ever.
Yes. Anyway, well, we're going to take a quick break. And on the other side of this break, you know what we do on Monday. It is Monday, and we do that thing that we do every Monday. So don't you go anywhere. Stick around. We'll be back shortly. You're watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. Well, we love our friends at Branded Bills because they make some amazing headwear. And if you are looking to make your brand stand apart from the crowd, look no further than Branded Bills. They've got you covered with a custom order. Start your order and their dedicated team will help you create the exact custom apparel you need, whether you need snapbacks, truckers, fitteds, beanies, or tees. They also have bags and more. So Branded Bills has you covered with performance and style. If you aren't looking to make a custom fit apparel for your brand, just check out their website and check out the wonderful options that they do have for purchase because their hats are the best. They have partnerships with the U of A and ASU, as well as partnerships with the Phoenix Suns. They're a local company from right here in Mesa, Arizona, and they make a damn good hat. So head to brandedbills.com and use code BBPHNX for 15% off your first order. That is BBPHNX for 15% off your first order. And everyone needs a checking account, by the way. So look to Mountain America Credit Union, where you can get the checking account with built-in benefits. It is Mountain America's My Style checking account, and it has perks for you, including restaurant deals, mobile phone protection, telehealth access, which I can use with the condition of my voice right now, identity protection, and more. Don't miss out on all the discounts they have to offer over at Mountain America with My Style for your lifestyle. Visit macu.com/mystyle to apply. Insured by NCUA. Membership required based on eligibility. Some benefits require no cost registration activation. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply. Well, Damon, you know what day it is, and you know what time it is, and you know how even on a year like this that looks so bleak, it's still our year. It's still the year of the snake on this program. It's still Black History Month every month on this program. Every month on this show is also Women's History Month. And every month on this show, Damon, also Black Women's History Month. Every single week on this show, regardless of wins or losses, is Shark Week. And every single day is Earth Day because we recycle. But on Mondays, we go to the mailbag no matter how bad my voice is. Damon, let's go to the mailbag.
My mailbox, always something interesting in my mailbox. I try to get to everything in my mailbox, and then once in a while there's a letter that makes me go wow, wow. My mailbox.
You doing all right?
No, I'm not. I'm not doing okay, but hopefully the audio listeners, they're the ones that are really going to struggle with this. I wouldn't want to listen to me.
I feel bad for those people.
I appreciate them.
Yeah,
I appreciate them more than any especially than you. But
yeah.
What do you got? You with the good voice. Why don't you read some of these questions?
I will read some of these questions. We got Benji to start us off here on Mailbag. Says, As someone living through their first big deadline sellout as a baseball fan, is this how we cope? Can I learn to love again now that Naylor and Kelly are gone?
Yes, this is definitely how we cope. I will say that it's interesting to be talking to Jeff about the Rangers fan base, and the Rangers at one point were tied for the final wild card spot in the AL. So they wanted their team to sell because even though there's a possibility of making the playoffs, they still don't feel that team is good enough to compete, which is crazy because the playoff structure for Major League Baseball is enough that 12 teams get in. There is an opportunity for anybody that gets into the playoffs to go on a crazy run and make something happen. Trust me, we saw it with our own eyes in 2023. So what I will say though is that it sucks that this happened. Sometimes you just have to realize that it's what needed to happen. There are times with other franchises, with other teams where they did let key free agents walk. They don't make the playoffs. They don't get anything back for them. And in the end, that ends up being actually more of a disaster than trading guys away. This just sucks for us. This sucks for fans. This sucks for people that watch every single baseball team that this team plays, game that this team plays. And, again, this is more about realizing that the controllable young pieces that they got in return have the potential to be far more valuable than the pieces that they traded away. Plus, there's a good chance that the Diamondbacks have no clue or no chance of signing any of these guys to new contracts. So they could have walked at the end of the year for nothing. And that's the best way that you can cope with these kind of decisions being made. There's never going to be a time, though, that trading away a guy like Gino for prospects is really going to make sense. So it takes time for that to all come together. And 5 years from now, we can look back and say this was a bad trade or a good trade. But no way to tell for the immediate future. What else we got, Damon?
Next question here comes from Wildcat Brian. Shout out Brian, a fan of the Easy Wildcats podcast as well. My guy says, it's a long shot, boys, but what if the D-backs got hot swept the Padres?
I would start saying some crazy things on this podcast.
I just Ron Burgundy that right now.
Yeah.
Don't put any nasty bad words in the mailbag message, or else Damon's probably going to read it live on air.
Yeah, Damon's going to get fired up and say it regardless. But I think that if the Diamondbacks sweep the Padres, there's going to be insane expectations again. And I mean, if they do, it's hard not to get excited about this team, right? I mean, not only do they have the potential to beat anybody if they can beat a team like the Padres, but it significantly improves their standings in the wild card race. So based on what happens with other teams, perhaps if a move like that would be enough for the Diamondbacks to pass, one or two other teams that are currently in the wild card race, then yeah, maybe that's something that will get us excited. I mean, there's no maybe about it. If the Diamondbacks sweep the Padres, I'm going to start saying insane things on the show afterwards. It's going to be basically later this week, and I'm going to say probably a lot to regret, but I think for good reason, because if they can beat the Padres, then maybe this team can put together a very, very magical run that will make a lot of us believe they could make the playoffs, and then they'll fall 2 games short once again. What else we got, Damon? That question made me sad for some reason, but not the question. I feel like I made myself sad with the answer.
We're winning this Padres series. We're sweeping them, and I'm going to lead the charge after we're done.
I mean,
we're making playoffs, baby.
You aren't going to be able to be talked to. Like the things that are going to fly out of your mouth if they sweep the Padres is probably going to bypass anything that I could ever come up with.
The masculine urge to say we're back right after saying it's over.
He's tightening his tie while he's doing that too, for sure. All right, what else we got?
Next question is from Travis Moore. In the 3-hole today for Travis Moore.
Hey, sometimes you need somebody to step up and show a little more power.
We need some RBI production for sure.
Exactly.
Says, who's trying out right now for next season's starting rotation? Let's assume Gallen leaves in free agency and Kelly doesn't come back. That last one hurt to type. Yeah, that hurts to read.
Well, that's a great question. I will say that there were a couple of guys that I kind of had in my mind. I think Bryce Jarvis is the first name that comes to mind as far as pitchers that would be actually trying out. A lot of the guys that would be candidates are done. Blake Walston, Tommy Henry. These are guys that have had Tommy John surgery and won't be back to start next year. So
it'll be Fott, Ryan, and Erod for sure.
Yeah.
Those three are locks, right?
Yeah.
Unless there's an injury, knock on wood, God forbid. But those are the three players I think are no doubt going to be in your rotation next year.
Without a question.
Then it's probably free agents / if Zach resigns on his qualifying offer / if Merrill comes back. Like
right.
You're probably filling out the last two with a combo of you're probably bringing in 2 starters in free agency, in my opinion, at the start of your roster, like to be on the opening day roster, and then you'll use like those Walston. I know he had a injury, like you said, but like the guys that are in your minor league system will kind of be the depth pieces.
Well, there's a couple of guys that I think about in the minor league system. I think we'll still see Min Lin before the end of the year. He could essentially be trying out for a role.
Yeah, that's a guy like that, exactly. Like he'll probably be depth call up at some point in the season when there's an injury and you need him to start a game, and then it's just on him to prove himself.
Right. And again, it's really about how some of these other, like the door is wide open for a Dylan Ray or a Spencer Giesting or some of these other guys to kind of step up, to be honest, and fill out some of these roles, both in the starting rotation and in the bullpen. And some of them have been pitching pretty well for AAA Reno. And again, I think that the Diamondbacks are willing to give anybody a shot, but I don't want it. I don't want it to happen at the cost of their development, especially considering, the Diamondbacks aren't in a position to win, right? They're not in a great position right now to try to be making the postseason, but they are in a great position right now to give guys that are ready an opportunity to come up and see what they can do at a major league level. And so far, this team, at least with pitching, has done a pretty good job of giving young pitchers a decent landing at a major league level and having them see success early on. But again, that's a case by case kind of basis. What else we got, Damon?
Next question. Give me 1 second here. I don't believe I got this one ready. Next question here comes from Cole Hunt, and Cole says, "I am happy to see this team find their bats again. What do you think the D-backs do with English now that we have Locklear, off-season trade candidate?"
Perhaps. I mean, Tristan English has been a guy that's kind of toiled away in the Diamondback system quite a bit, and this doesn't work out great for him. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't a great thing for Tristan English, but I will say, especially based on my love of pro wrestling, that competition brings out the best in guys. And the Diamondbacks right now, at least for the foreseeable future, aren't in a position to trade away a first baseman that is going back to AAA that's going to be their depth until they have something else figured out. Should they go out and pick up a free agent first baseman in the offseason, then there's a good chance that maybe Tristan English does become somebody that the Diamondbacks don't feel the need to have as part of their team any longer and possibly look to trade him away. I do feel like Tyler Locklear for the foreseeable future is going to be ahead of him. And, again, that just pushes him back that much further. I really did think that this was going to be a chance for English to get that opportunity at a major league level. And Sean says English is 27, not much trade value. I don't know if he's that old, but he is an older minor league player for sure. So that is one of the reasons why I thought that this opportunity for him would be his best chance to possibly win some playing time. And if it didn't work out, then it could be. He's 28, in fact. So yeah. Chances are you might be right. Maybe not much trade value there. Maybe as part of a package potentially that they could see some return. But
to me, he's just a depth piece in the organization.
Yeah, that's what I see as well.
Not to disrespect him. I'm not rooting against him at all. I just feel like Tyler Locklear's ceiling is a lot higher, and a 28-year-old who's been kind of in AAA for most of his time here is, to me, that's a guy who's kind of just a really good minor league baseball player.
Yeah. And I mean, I hate calling people 4A players and all that kind of crap. But
Jake McCarthy.
He's
had a couple good major league seasons.
Yeah, I mean, let's put some respect on Jake's name.
He just seemingly gets called down once a year at
least. Well,
least.
he's a 4A MVP is what Jake McCarthy is. When he goes down
He's
to
Aaron
triple,
Judge.
yeah, he hits 400 and mashes 90 home runs is what he does at a minor league level. All right,
Yoshi,
what else?
I've already accepted Pavin Smith is a part of this roster, whether I like it or not. That's Mike Hazen's son. He loves him like family.
We know because me and Damon go to the barbecues. Remember?
Yeah, 100%. Well, yeah. Tori told us at his family dinner
Sunday
on
dinner
Sunday.
on Sunday.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to tell people that we go to that, but
well, it was like a special birthday one yesterday. It was actually really nice of Tori's wife to do that.
You act like we don't go to the other ones. Come on, Damon.
Yeah,
Come
but
on.
it just remember they made me they made me my favorite.
They did make you specifically. That was weird to make something for everyone, but then make Damon his own special plate. It was wild. But what else we got?
Next question here comes from Basketball and Football Guy, and he asks, so roughly speaking, the Diamondbacks would probably need 90 wins to make the playoffs, which means they would need to go 37-13 the rest of the way. Is that even realistically possible?
No, it's not. It's not. But it also doesn't necessarily mean with their schedule ahead of them that they need to win that many games. What they honestly need to do is win games against the Padres. That's what they need to do. They have a 3-game set against the Padres as their next series. Then they play the Dodgers again to end the month. Then shortly after that, let's see, what do they end the season? They end the season against the Padres. So they have 6 games still left against the Padres. That's kind of what you have to do. Yes, you have to win the games in between. You have tough matchups with the Brewers coming up that have been the best team in baseball lately. Like I said, you have another matchup with the Rangers where we're most likely going to have to play against Merrill Kelly. That's terrible.
Double agent.
Maybe he gives up 6 home runs in that game.
Sean says that we play the Reds as well.
We do. So
yeah, what's going on with the Marlins? I know we're derailing a slight bit here, but have you noticed what they're up to?
Yeah, they're unstoppable.
They're unbelievable. Ever since they played us, I think we saved the Marlins franchise.
Well, we also turned the Tigers season around too, so we're doing a lot of good for baseball.
That wasn't even like a franchise saving thing. That was just strictly the Tigers are back.
Yeah,
now.
yeah, that was their offense needs. They have They have a great lead in their division. They just need to get things back on track. Thanks to the Diamondbacks.
I think I heard this weekend, and someone in the chat, if I heard this incorrectly, correct me, but I think I heard that the Marlins swept the Yankees for the first time since the 2003 World Series when they swept them.
They did.
Isn't that the craziest thing you've ever heard?
It is crazy.
2003 was the last time you swept them, and it was in the World Series. You know how many years it's been since then, Derek? 22. How do you not sweep them once in that time period?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the Marlins did dock walk the D-backs. Marlins sweep against New York Yankees was great to see. And was that the game where they scored a bunch in the 9th inning and scored on a 1-foot walk-off? Yeah, that was the Marlins. Yeah, that was Friday's game. That was
just
nuts.
Swag slide into home plate.
I mean, they are a team that is playing like the Diamondbacks should be playing. They have nothing to lose. They have no expectations. In fact, most people can't name 3 players on their starting lineup, and they don't give a crap about that. They are out there. They are beating anybody that they play, and they're playing fearless. You know what I mean? They're playing you don't know who we are, and that's kind of a good thing in baseball because when you don't know who guys are, you can't really prepare well for them. You don't have a great idea, but it's young guys stepping up and taking advantage of the opportunity. Even if they don't make the playoffs, this has been a fun year for the Marlins, and you can't help but be excited about the future of that team. That would be great to see the Diamondbacks play like that right now. It would be great to see guys like Blaze Alexander and Adrian Del Castillo and Tyler Locklear turn things around and suddenly start being the guys that lead this team a bit, or at least contribute more often. Alec Thomas, since the All-Star break, has been outstanding. So
this series, he was really good.
Right. I mean, I can't say enough about how good Alec Thomas is.
Get Alec Thomas in a PCL ballpark all of a sudden.
See, I'm surprised more guys didn't rake overall. You know what I mean? They're PCL guys. They're PCL guys.
I will say just to correct myself a little bit on this Marlins stuff, they didn't sweep them in 2003, as Sean put in the chat. They won in 6 games. They had never swept the Yankees before in franchise history until this last series. They're now 25-24 against the Yankees all time. And I believe that someone up here put it. Yoshi said they're the only team of the 29 other teams with a winning record against the Yankees.
Mel Flores just showed up. Thank you, Mel. Mel says, I just got here. Sorry, traffic was heck. Why does Derek sound like that?
Wait till you find out.
Do I give a fake story at this point?
No.
Do I say it's because
it sounds fake?
Oh my God, I couldn't believe the swerve at the end of night 1 of SummerSlam. All my friends were there and we just lost our minds. Or I could say I was screaming at the top of my lungs about Ketel's hair and him shaving it off. But no, it was because I woke up at 6 a.m. to the sound of shattering glass, and it wasn't Stone Cold Steve Austin entering my house to beat my ass. It was my cat who knocked my favorite glass off the counter and broke it into a million pieces. And my reaction was to scream at it. Now, Damon has seen video of me screaming at my dog before, including a funny video of me kicking him out of my house because, he was trying to get bad with me and I had to let him know.
The front door, in case anyone was wondering. I was watching it on the Ring
video. Yeah. But yeah, that's why I screamed at my cat and I was still half asleep and I did bad things to my voice. So apologize for that. Hopefully things will be better tomorrow. Damon, we got any more questions in the mailbag? I think we got a couple more.
We got a couple more questions here. Next one comes from A to Z Sports. Says, if they go 31-19 in their last 50 games with the record they have, can they make the playoffs? Another team or 3 would have to collapse. Yeah. Can you see this team making any noise with the guys they let go of? What's the starting rotation?
Well, I hate the starting rotation right now. I really wish that they would give someone like Bryce Jarvis a chance over Anthony DeSclafani. I think that that definitely impacts things and it makes it that much harder for the team to win every 5 days. But I do think there's a chance because it's baseball and some things in baseball don't make any sense. This would be one of them for sure. But you are right. It would involve other teams collapsing. Luckily, some of the other teams that are above them kind of waved the white flag on the on the season with what they did at the trade deadline. So the Diamondbacks could definitely be put in that category. However, if they can put some things together here and maybe have somebody like Bryce Jarvis step up and give them at least an opportunity to win every 5 days there in the 5th starter spot with Gallen and Eduardo Rodriguez and Brandon Pfaadt and Ryan Nelson, then yeah, I just think it's asking a lot to expect them to go out there and be more than a 500 team after that's what we've seen them be all year long. And at points this season, they obviously had way more weapons than what they currently have. So it's hard for me to envision, but I do think that it's not like it's completely impossible. All right, what else do we have? Got one more?
Yeah, last question here comes from Cole Hunt, and Cole says, "I'm happy to see this team."
We answered this one already. Oh, we didn't? No. Okay. Oh, maybe we didn't. I'm sorry. I saw.
No,
this.
we did. We did.
Okay.
Let me see if I made a mistake here. Try to find if we have another question or if that was just what we ended with.
Oh no, you're good. But I you know what? We'll just wrap it there because I do.
Last question here from Russell.
Oh, okay,
I'll just read it off.
Sure.
First of all, our future is bright because everyone we got in trades and other prospects we have will hopefully be called up when Corbin Burns and other major pitchers come back next year or the year after. Second, are we back? Third, what will our record be by the end of the year?
I wouldn't be surprised to see the Diamondbacks end up winning enough games to be a couple of games over 500, right? But that's like the most I can envision. And with how competitive baseball is and with the teams right now that are not only competing for a wild card spot like the Padres, but also still in the hunt for their own division, it's hard for me not to say that, as people alluded to with their questions, that they, that it's going to take 90 games to get in the playoffs. I don't think the Diamondbacks are going to win 90 games, but I do think they could put a run together to win, to have a winning season. It's just I think ultimately it'll fall short, unfortunately. But we might be back. We'll see. This series against Padres is again the next biggest thing in the Diamondbacks season. It's always the next game. It's always the next opponent. But this one's bigger than most because not only does it say volumes about this team if they do have a good showing against the Padres, but it drastically could improve where they are at in the wild card standings afterwards. So let's hope that that's what we see. I'm going to head over to Chase Field and get some more from the clubhouse and Tori's pregame. So make sure to keep it locked to PHNX_DBacks on Twitter for that. You can follow me at cap_caveman with a K. Damon, of course, is at Damon Dog. That's with a DAWG at the end. We are all Damon's dogs. I don't know how I could forget that, even with a terrible voice. Bark, bark. Our show is at PHNX_DBacks, but all roads do lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We thank you guys for your time. We appreciate you stopping by. We will see you tomorrow with another post-game show. And until then, behave yourselves. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when you don't lose your voice screaming at your cat.
We all silly like the mayor.